Lekutei Marava, lesson number 24. The Rebbe's own words. Nanach, nachman, meuman, the sages of Athens, Rebbe asked him, where is the middle of the world? Lifting his finger and pointing, he said, here. Miyamar, who says they retorted, bring a rope and measure, he said. Lesson number 24. Number 1, no, there is a light that is beyond our nefesh, life, soul, our ruach, spirit, and our neshama, higher soul. This is the light of the infinite. The intellect may be unable to perceive it, but the mind nevertheless persistently pursues it. By pursuing it, the intellect is able to grasp it in a perceiving yet not perceiving way, for indeed it is impossible to grasp, for it is beyond the nefesh, ruach, neshama. Number 2, but no, it is impossible to grasp it, even in an perceiving yet not perceiving way, other than by way of performing the commandments with joy. But no, it is impossible to grasp it, even in an perceiving yet not perceiving way, other than by way of performing the commandments with joy. Through the joy of the mitzvahs, holiness is perfected, and the life force and holiness within the klipos, forces of evil, are elevated, as in the 11 spices of the torah incense. The klipos are considered superfluous, an aspect of angst, as in all angst is superfluous. All angst is superfluous, representing harsh judgments, as in God was anguished to his heart. The essence of joy is also in the heart, as in you said, joy in my heart. Now the exile of the Shekhinah, corresponding to the yard, to the joy of Israel, is mainly when it is overwhelmed by angst, which is the klipos, as in God was anguished in his heart. Thus, regarding when the Jewish people will leave the exile, the verse says, you will leave with joy. For this reason, regarding the elevation of the life force from the klipos by way of the incense, the verse says, incense makes the heart rejoice. Hence, when one performs a mitzvah with joy, one elevates the Shekhinah, which is the mitzvah, the joy of the heart from the klipos. Hence, when one performs a mitzvah with joy, one elevates the Shekhinah, which is the mitzvah, the joy of the heart from the klipos. This is alluded to in the malchus, corresponding to the Shekhinah of the world of Asiya, action, rising from the klipos. Number 3. Now, when a person performs some mitzvah, that mitzvah has the power to go and arouse all worlds to serve God, as in we will go with our youths and our elders, we will go with our sheep and our cattle. This is alluded to in the malchus, and clothing netzachoid and yesoid, which are the limbs of walking. This is alluded to in his God's torah is in his heart. His steps will not falter, and in the steps of my God, my melech king, in holiness. When the malchus is elevated into holiness, it enables the steps of my God, netzachoid and yesoid, to go and arouse all things to serve God. Number 4, by way of this arousal, that is by way of walking, going, a blessing is drawn into all worlds. This is alluded to in netzachoid and yesoid, in clothing, chesed, gevuras, and gevura and tifeides, which represents the hands, which are the source of blessings, as in God blessed you on account of my regel, literally my feet, in the sense of my coming. Hence the feet rise up to the level of hands, as in the hand of the Israelites went and subdued. Now blessings are essentially from the hands, as in Aaron lifted his hands to the people and blessed them, and as in from the hands of the champion of Jacob, from there a shepherd, the rock of Israel. Number 5, now the main blessing that flows from the hands is the intellect. When this descends, it materializes for each person according to his will, as in you open your hands and satiate the will of each living creature. Thus, anyone with spiritual understanding should focus his will to draw the blessing of seichel, intelligence, and brains, as in Jacob Sikel wisely crossed his hands, and in your hands, O God, established a temple. This is alluded to in Chesed, Gevura, and Tfeides, in clothing Chachma, Bina, and Das. Wisdom, understanding, and it's an experiential knowledge. Wisdom, understanding, and experiential knowledge. Number 6, furthermore, faith must be drawn into the blessing of the intellect. For one cannot rely solely on the intellect. As is known, this is alluded to in a man of faith and abundance of blessings. In his hands with faithful, and in the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hand, and in the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hand, meaning that faith should be drawn into the blessing of the hands. This is also alluded to in, I will establish for him a faithful dynasty, and in your faithfulness within the congregation of the holy referring to the mind. His corresponds to the malchus of the world of Yetzirah formation, manifesting as Chachma Bina and Das of the world of Asiya. Action number 7 now, from the essence of the blessings, which is the subtlety of the blessings, the organizing and composing function of the intellect. The Kesser is blessed as in, I will ekya be ekya, is the divine. I will ekya be. Ekya is the divine corresponding to Kesser, with you and bless you. Now Kesser can mean waiting, as in Qatar, wait for a minute, wait for me for a while. Qatar, wait for me a while. When a person is asked some idea, he says, hold on a minute and let me think about it here too. Faith is required, as in a wondrous omaaiiinnn, as a wondrous omaaiiinnn. The same letters as emunah, faith. Wondrous is connected with Kesser. Wondrous is connected with Kesser. This is alluded to in the essence of Chesed, Gevurah, Tfeidus, and the essence of Malchus of the world of Yetzirah, forming the Kesser of the world of Asiya. This is alluded to in the essence of Chesed, Gevurah, Tfeidus, and the essence of Malchus of the world of Yetzirah, forming the Kesser of the world of Asiya. In this way, all worlds rise till the world of Atzilus, emanation higher and higher. This is alluded to in blessed is the glory of God from his place. Blessed represents the hands. The glory of God represents faith, and from his place represents Kesser number 8. After one is properly actualized and perfected the composing and organizing function of the intellect, the composing and organizing function of the intellect, which is the Kesser, the mind pursues to attain the light of the infinite, which is the Kesser, then the mind pursues to attain the light of the infinite. However, the Kesser obstructs the intellect in order to compose it. By way of this pursuit and obstruction, the mind strikes against the composing and organizing function, thus creating chambers to contain the light of the infinite, which are themselves unknown and unknowable, as stated in the Zohar, through the pursuit of thought. One can perceive yet not perceive what is beyond the curtain. The curtain is the organizing and composing function, which is an aspect of Kesser, which is spread out between the creation and the creator, which is spread out between the creation and the creator. 9 chambers are thereby created. They are not lights, nor spirits, nor souls. No one can grasp what they are. They are imperceptible. They are imperceptible and unknowable. They are imperceptible and unknowable. And know this is the ultimate knowledge. For the ultimate knowledge is knowing that one knows nothing. This is alluded to. He will satiate your soul with brilliances. These lights are the brilliant lights that are above the spheres. Fortunate is the one whose thoughts are in pursuit of perceiving such perceptions, despite the inability of the intellect to grasp them, for they are unknowable and unknown. These 9 chambers are created by the minds, striking the Kesser while in pursuit. The mind is threefold, and each part is composed of 3, for they interact with each other during the pursuit. 3 times 3 is 9. These are the 9 chambers. This matter is profoundly deep. Who can understand it, as the rebbe, nanach, nachman, meuman personally alluded to me the great depth of this awesome secret that reaches above and beyond, as the reader can see in this lesson. Nevertheless, some explanation is in place. The Keser is the composer and organizer of the mind, which is the power of the human intellect to compose and organize the mind and the consciousness so that it does not try to break through the barrier of its limitations. This power is an aspect of Keser. Now this power, nanach, nachma, nachman, meuman. Now this power is like a partition that separates between the mind and the light of the infinite. For this composing and organizing power restrains the mind during its pursuit that it does not try to reach God beyond its capabilities. For the mind is always pursuing to grasp the light of the infinite. This composing and organizing power of the intellect, that is an aspect of bezH. For the mind is always pursuing to grasp the light of the infinite. This composing and organizing power of the intellect, that is an aspect of Keser, stands in the way of the mind like a partition, preventing it from its pursuit. By way of this pursuit and restraining, that is the mind's pursuing to grasp the light of the infinite, and the restraining effect of the composing and organizing function Keser, the mind bangs into and strikes to this partition of the composing and organizing function, thus creating chambers to contain the light of this infinite. That is sublimely spiritual vessels and chambers come into being in order to grasp therewith the light of the infinite in a perceiving yet not perceiving way. If there would be no restraining whatever to hold the mind back from its pursuit and chasing, the mind would completely dissolve into the infinite. The human being would cease to exist, for the light of the infinite is impossible to perceive. However, by way of the two functions of pursuit and restraint, walls and chambers are created, by way of which one can perceive the light of the infinite in a perceiving yet not perceiving way. The meaning of perceiving yet not perceiving is known to those with understanding. One perceives yet not perceives, pursuing and reaching to grasp yet not truly grasping. This comes about through the pursuit and the restraint. But even after the creation of these chambers, they remain unknown and unknowable, and no one can grasp them. It is impossible for the intellect to imagine the perceptions contained within these chambers, for they are beyond our nefesh, life, soul, ruach, spirit, and the neshama, higher soul, beyond all intellects, above the spheres. Look again well at the rebbe's nanach, nachman, nachman, own words, and you will understand that I have not added anything here at all, for my words are included in his. I have only repeated and explained things a bit, due to their awesome depths that reach to the infinite. For this reason, specifically 9 chambers are created, for the mind is threefold, and during pursuit and striking against the restraining barrier, they become encompassed in each other. Each of the 3 becomes threefold, and 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 3 is 9, which are the 9 chambers. Fortunate is he who merits following this holy path as presented in this lesson and attaining such perceptions. Nanach, nachman, nachman, meuman. This was the question of the sages of Athens. Where is the middle of the world? Lifting his finger and pointing, he said, here. Miyemar, who says they retarded. Bring a rope and measure, he said. They wanted to know how one can grasp the light of the infinite, which is the middle of the world, from which everything draws life force and benefaction. Lifting his finger represents blessings, as in Aaron lifted his hands and blessed them. That is, by way of the blessings, the mind strikes again the Keser, and chambers come into being. Miyemar means who can enter the chambers of exchange, realm of the klipos, to elevate holiness from there, as in the lekutei, by way of which the blessings are elevated. Miyemar is from the root of exchange, as in if homer yemireno, as in homer yemireno. If he exchanges it, bring a rope and measure. He said that his holiness is mainly elevated by way of joy, and in the future the Jewish people will leave exile with joy, as in, you shall leave with joy, at which time all klipos will cease to exist. Thus bring a rope implies that specifically by them, and against their will the klipos cease to exist. That is, the Gentile nations will themselves bring the Jewish people, who are called a rope, God's rope of inheritance. Out of exile as in they will bring your brethren, the house of Israel, meaning that each and every non-Jew will bring the Jewish people out of exile by way of the great joy that will be at that time. As written, then the nations will say, God has done great things with these. We were joyous. Through this joy all klipas will cease to exist. As in, he measured them with a rope, lying them down on the ground. Bring a rope, thus refers to the measuring in order to vanquish them. Bring a rope. Bring a rope. Thus refers to the measuring. Thus refers to the measuring in order to vanquish them. Lesson number 25, the Rebbe's own words. Nach, nachman, meuman, the sages of Athens said to him, show us something that is not worth the damage it causes. He brought a budya mat, and they spread it out, but it would not fit through the doorway. Bring a sledgehammer and break down the doorway till it can fit through. This is something that is not worth the damage it causes. Ever since the temple was destroyed, the shomer, a worm that can eat through stone, the neifis sufim, nectar of honey, and the mana, the faithful, cease to exist. Number one, each and every person individually must disentangle himself from the mindset of illusion and become able to see things from the higher perspective of the intellect. When one is drawn to follow illusion, one is in the category of a capricious heart, for one is following the heart's illusion. However, when one distances oneself from the capricious heart, breaking one's heart of stone, one is in the category of the shomer worm, through which stone is subdued, so that one does not follow illusory desires, but follows the intellect. Nanach, nachma, nachman.